Welcome to the show, everyone. We have been trying to decide how many shows I've been doing here since 13 years of this, and we are pretty long of the way here, about over 4,000, I think, something like that. We're going to do a party when it's 5,000. I love networking, and I love the information that we have on our show here, and that's what I love about it. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show in later on today, okay? I'm going to go in with my first guest, who's also been with me once before. I have with me David Martinez, and he is the owner of CDM Firm Estate Planning, Business and Law, right? Business, estate planning and business law. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do, and the book that you wrote. Listen up, everyone. I know you don't like to talk about this, but come on, we got to do it.
All right. Yes, I'm David Martinez. I'm a native of Arizona. I've been practicing for probably about 24 years now. It's kind of like when you turn over 50, you forget what the exact number of years. I do estate planning and business law. I love to help my clients, and I really just, the point of why I practice is to help people.
And you know, here's the thing about business law and estate planning, why they go together. There's a good reason for it. Tell them why.
Yeah, well, a lot of my clients actually own their own businesses, and what they don't understand is that you need to do some planning, because if something does happen, you need to take care of your family.
And here, the book is called Estate Planning for Your Future, Giving Your Family Certainty and Peace of Mind. Let's talk a little bit about the book, because we're going to open up the lines of the audience and let everybody get one, okay?
All right.
And you know what? Listen to this, you guys. This is my thought about all of this stuff. Maybe it's you, or maybe it's someone that you know. If you're married, if you are over 18, if you have children over 18, you better listen up, right?
That's right.
And please get the book. It's something, it's information, that's all it is. And then you guys think about these things that you're taught, that you're hearing here, because it's all going to give you, at the end, you peace of mind. Forget about everybody else. It's for you.
Yeah. Well, I wrote the book, and it's short. It's about 50 pages. And what I did is I essentially have 14 different questions that I answer, and it's very short. It's a very quick read, but it's really not to teach you everything you need to know, because that's why you need to meet with a licensed attorney, so that they can tell you. But it just kind of sparks your thoughts, or it just kind of prompts you to think about the things that are important that you may not really think about very often, or you try not to think about, because people worry about this. This is actually something that stresses people out.
Right, I know. I don't understand it, because, you know, it's going to happen. It's not if, it's when, right?
That's exactly right.
Now, we're going to open the lines to the audience. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Call in and get this book. I don't care who it's for. If it's you or for someone that you know, get the book. And you don't have to read the whole thing, but you know what? There might be something in there when you're looking at it going, I don't know. I might need to make sure I have that done. Do you do second opinions?
I absolutely do.
Right, you have to. Tell them about, like, getting their dusted off and making sure that they're kind of, you know, they have to be checked often, not just once a year. Like, that's it, you're done.
That's exactly right. When I meet with people, I tell them this is not a one and done type of a plan. This is something that's living, and that you need to revisit every 3 to 5 years, because life happens, things change. And as they change, then you need to make modifications, or you may not need to. But you should meet often to try to make sure that you are current.
So let's go away from all of these little notes that we have here right now, okay?
Okay.
I want to talk about the HIPAA law, right? And that our kids that are over 18, God forbid something happens. I want to talk about that, because please, everybody, listen up. It can happen to anybody, and it's this important information.
Yeah, what people don't realize is that when your child is no longer a child, and they're a minor, or they're no longer a minor, and I'm going to be clear. Just because a kid's 18 doesn't mean that they're all grown up, but nevertheless, legally, they are adults. And if you want to do something for your child, if something happens to them and they need decisions made, a doctor's going to say to you, show me the paperwork that allows me to discuss these private matters with you. And absent something in writing, there's a good chance that you may not be able to talk to the doctor about your own child.
Right, it happens a lot. And now we're right now in a very weird, strange time. I mean, you know, with COVID going along right now, have you had more calls because of this, that people are like, you know, I really have to take care of this because of just COVID? Has it scared them at all?
It's scared a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, it's gotta be scared straight. That's what you gotta be. And that's the information right now that I'm saying it that way for you guys right now. Because the truth of the matter is that if you can't, I tried to call Amazon. And Amazon wouldn't let me just, you know, ask the question or whatever. I had to prove who I was before I got anywhere through. And if they're gonna do it on that, just can you imagine what it would be like if you were talking about something like that?
Right, well, part of the planning process is you do powers of attorney. And I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but just calling SRP, for example, and saying, hey, I wanna check things on my account, and they say, well, actually, sir, your wife opened this up, we can't talk to you. And it's very frustrating because you're thinking, well, that doesn't make any sense. But privacy.
Right, you pay the bill, right?
Yeah, doesn't really matter.
Uh-huh. Privacy what?
No, so but because of privacy concerns, they're not just gonna talk to people about accounts. They're not gonna talk to them about something as simple as an SRP account. So what do you think is gonna happen when it's something like a bank account and somebody's in the hospital and now you can't access their account? Without legal documents, you can't do it.
The book is called Estate Planning for Your Future, Giving Your Family Certainty and Peace of Mind, and yourself as well. And I want to also talk about making sure that your documents are correct. I want to talk about that. It's huge. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check him out on his newest website, which is AZ Estate Planning, 4u.com. He's also rated with the Better Business Bureau. He does free consultations. He does second opinions. Have them checked out. Please dust them off and take them out. Have them looked at. You can also call him direct. His phone number is 480-454-1540, or call in here. Just get the book. I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show. Start with that. Let you have a little peace of mind. 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Documents, okay? I want to talk about them. Because a document, my dad had all sorts of documents, okay? And he thought he had it all done right. And I would have thought so too. He was Mr. Perfect as far as I was concerned, right? And he didn't, because he didn't do one little thing, and it was the littlest, dumbest thing, the littlest mistake that caused the biggest problem. And it's sad, because if he only knew, he would be devastated, you know? I'm glad he doesn't know.
Yeah, what happens a lot of time is people will do the work and they'll create a trust, for instance. I often compare a trust to a container that you put your assets into. The problem is, if you don't put your assets in the container, then they fall outside. You have to go through probate. You spend all this money to do this planning so that people don't have to go go to court, and then you forget one little thing. You forget to title a bank account in the name of your trust. You forget to point your life insurance to the trust, and then guess what? Now you're going through probate, and you think, man, if I would have known that would have happened, that wouldn't have taken me long and all to do.
Now, the book is called Estate Planning for Your Future, Giving Your Family Certainty and Peace of Mind. He wrote the book for everybody to have that. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. We're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk further about this. Because one thing I want to talk about that people don't understand is you don't need to have, this is not about wealth in any way.
That's right.
Our number here is 602-277-5369. Do you like when I do it? Okay, so, and on your end, we're going to keep on talking now because we are still live on Facebook. So I just want to ask you, when you talk to people, and what is the one thing that comes up the most that they like, not the first question of what they need, but more that comes up, the mistake that they make the most?
The biggest mistake is that they don't do any planning, and they're waiting, and because they think that there's some threshold that they need to meet before they have to do planning. For instance, you're thinking, well, I don't have a lot of money, but you have minor kids. Well, you need a plan for what happens if something happens to you and your wife. Don't you want to pick who your guardians are going to be for your children?
Right.
And a lot of times I'll even talk about things like life insurance. I know that that's not what I do, but the reality is, you picked who's going to be your guardians, but are you going to have money so that your guardians have something to take care of your kids? So you may be 25 and think we don't have a lot of money, but for $25 a month, you can buy a life insurance policy and make sure that there's some money there to take care of your kids.
Right. So, and what I did, because I didn't do that, I ended up later in life getting I don't know what you think about them, but there's life insurance with living benefits, which I ended up doing just because I'm single and wanted something myself. But why come to an attorney as opposed to trying to do it yourself?
Well, you can look online, right, and you can find forms. The problem is, if you fill them out, then it might be as though you didn't do them at all. You may not know what your different options are. You may be just thinking, okay, I'm going to make it real simple. I leave everything to my kids, and then don't think about the fact that, yeah, but if I do have a lot of money and I leave everything to my kids and I don't specify and they get it when they're 18, that might not be the best choice because I don't really want them to blow it all. I spent so much time working to get this money. I don't want them to just blow it away all at once because they're still immature.
I think that's important too. But also when you go to make sure that you do, because if you do it yourself, you know you're doing it wrong. There's no way you could possibly do it right. And like I said, my dad, he had written a letter to each one of us individually outside of everything that he already did. He had a will, he had a trust, he had all that stuff. But he had a letter that was, my brothers were supposed to pay back what they borrowed. And because I never borrowed, and he wanted it so that they'd put back, and then whatever's left over, you know, whatever. And he didn't have it notarized.
So it wasn't
So
enforceable.
it wasn't, yeah. Didn't matter that much, but it still, it did, but it didn't, you know?
That's it.
So we have our lines open here for everyone to get the book, Estate Planning for Your Future, Giving Your Family Certainty and Peace of Mind. I'm going to leave the lines open for everyone to call throughout the rest of the show. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. At the break, we've been talking a little bit about money and wealth and why that does not become involved with this at all. And I want you to be able to say something to them too, because now we're on live on the air, so go ahead.
Yeah, a lot of times people think that they can't do any planning until they have a lot of money. But I'll give you a prime example. If you're a young couple and you have a child, you need to do some kind of planning right then and there. Because if something happens to you and your wife, and you know what, this is a prime example in the world of things can happen to people unexpectedly. You want to pick who is going to be the guardian of your children, and you want somebody to also guide you in the right way in terms of what should I be doing that maybe isn't so legal but also just financial, like life insurance for instance, to make sure that there is money to take care of my minor children if something does in fact happen to both of them.
And do it when you're younger, because when you do that when you're younger, you don't have to pay as much money.
That is so right.
It is so true. So don't put your heads in the sand. Also, more than anything, please do something. Have them looked at also. Make sure that you have second opinions done. You can do it over and over and over. I tell you, every time I listen to somebody like this, I say, oh my God, I wonder, you don't know whether or not you have. And I talk to my ex about it, because, he's coming into all this money, right? And I'm like, but he'll say to me, well, I don't have anything. Well, I'm like, it doesn't matter if you don't have anything, because it's not, what do you want? What are your wishes? What happens if? Isn't that true?
That's right, and here's the other thing. I talked about the beginning of the spectrum, right, when you're getting your family going. But as we get older, and now the possibility of us getting sick or not being able to make decisions, if we don't have other documents in place like powers of attorney, not just health care, but also financial or general durable power of attorney, somebody may not be able to help me and step in for me while I'm ill.
Also, I want to talk about people who are older people too, that all of a sudden maybe you had a will, and then the husband might have passed, and there might be some different changes that go on. Don't they change? Things change all the time.
Right. I'll give you an example. People will do a trust, and if they're married and they have children just together, and the first spouse dies, a lot of times that trust says that the survivor can make changes. Why would they make changes? Because there's family changes, right? And if the other spouse was alive, they'd probably talk about it and make them together, but that right is still reserved to the surviving spouse to make.
I think everybody should have the book and take a look at it. I mean, it's what, you said 50 pages? And so it's easy. It's not something that you're going to read completely. You're going to look at it and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I've had done that. And that's what's really important. Okay, so the name of the book is called Estate Planning for Your Future, Giving Your Family Certainty and Peace of Mind. He wrote the book for everybody to have that. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. You can check him out on his newest website, which is AZ Estate Planning, the number 4, the letter U.com. He does second opinions. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau, and he also does free consultations. Write this number down. It's 480-454-1540. What I know about people is they do things when they're ready. They listen to this and then they'll say, oh, I got to do that. They'll write down, that's a really good idea, and they'll put that number down. And they'll either put it on the refrigerator, or whatever. And then they look at it like, I don't know, for a year. I got to do that. Oh, that's right, I got to do that, right? And that's the way people are.
When I meet with people, there's a fair amount that will do something right away. And usually it's because something has happened in their life that makes them scared. I'm not going to lie, it's really fear that leads people to act. But some people let fear freeze them, and then they do nothing. But at some point, this will come more and more to their mind, and they'll think about it, and they feel like, I got to do something.
Well, call in here. That's the first thing that you can do. Get the book, and then you can have a free consultation with him. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. How long does it take for the process to get an estate plan done? And what does it take? What do they need to have?
The process takes no more than a month. I've had situations where it's been quite urgent because somebody's going in for surgery or somebody's very sick, and we've done it faster. And we will accommodate people when they have those needs. But the reality is, if you come and see us, then within a month you'll have something in place.
Yeah, and you just brought something up when you said that so quickly, like people that are going to have surgery, right? That is when you think about it, right? That's when you start thinking, oh gosh, I'm going under.
That's exactly right. Another time that happens, I'll have couples, they have a minor children, and then they want to go on vacation. And then all of a sudden they start to think, oh no, we don't have anything. What happens if something happens to us when we're gone? And a lot of times that will actually spur people to do some planning.
And how about your children that go off? I mean, they should also, sometimes your children that are 25 that are still living with you, or they're still your children, and God forbid something happens to them, they should do it. I think people should feel comfortable about the conversation, and I think that's the hardest part about everything, is that as a family, people just don't want to sit down and talk about it.
And that's exactly right. And when you were talking, what came to my mind is this: there's not only one type of planning that needs to be done. It depends on your situation. So if somebody tells you you need a trust, well, if they don't meet with you and ask you questions, that may not be right. So you need to talk to somebody that's honest, that you can trust, that's going to just level with you and say, you know what, you don't need this, you just need this. For
Right.
instance, a child. Yeah, your child doesn't really need a will. They don't have any assets, but if they're going away to school, you want to have a medical power of attorney, a durable power of attorney for them if something happens, so you can help them. But if you have a lot of assets and a lot of kids, then yeah, you do need a trust, and because you need something more complex.
Right. Now, and that's the difference. What do they don't need to have both necessarily. What is the difference between the two?
The difference between a will and a trust is it's somewhat, they're very similar in a lot of ways, right? A will, like a trust, will designate who's going to act for you if something happens to you, and then how your assets are going to pass and to who they're going to pass. A will says that, a trust says that. The difference is that a trust, unlike a will, is also effective during your lifetime if you become incapacitated. A will only goes into effect if you die. A trust doesn't. A trust is if you're in an accident and you can't make decisions, your trustee, which is the same as a personal representative or an executor in a will, can step in now, utilize your assets until you're well, and then you step back in. So there are subtle differences, but the best way is to sit down and figure out with someone like me what you need.
And that number to call him direct, it's 480-454-1540. You can check him out at AZ Estate Planning, the number 4, the letter U.com. Have those second opinions done. Please do it. I implore people to have those looked at. Free consultation. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau, and he wrote the book, Estate Planning for Your Future, giving your family certainty and peace of mind. You can call in here and get it from me for free. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100, and I'm going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show for it. Believe me, I know when you get it and when you do it and you start getting into the process of it, you're going to be so happy. You're going to have that it's got a lift off of you. Do you agree?
Yeah, I tell people this, and it may sound kind of corny, but I'll say you'll sleep better at night knowing that you have this done.
It's true. It absolutely is true. Even if you just start getting some of the papers done. Do you agree? I mean, it's just when you start doing it, you start to realize, I am taking care of things, right?
You know what? This is what I hear the most. People say to me, you made this so simple. It was so easy. I wish I would have done it sooner.
I hear that a lot from people that from my different clients, different ones. I'm not talking about this. I mean, I'm talking about doctors and things like that come in and they'll say that their clients just say that. People say that all the time. They are so resistant of doing something, right?
Yeah.
And yet when they do it, they all say the same thing. Why didn't I do this earlier? I never heard somebody say it in your realm, but it makes sense.
And it's because, and this is the difference, right? If you want to judge whether or not somebody's right for you, you should judge by when you talk to them, how do they make you feel? And what my goal is to make you feel like I care about you and I'm going to take care of you and you'll trust me to do it.
His number to call direct, it's 480-454-1540. He does free consultations, and it is all about that. Sit down and talk to him, and everybody's different, right? So you can have a conversation with him. He's does free consultations. He's rated with the Better Business Bureau. He does second opinions. He wrote the book, Estate Planning for Your Future, giving your family certainty and peace of mind. Call in here and get it from me for free throughout the rest of the show, 602-277-5369.